Nick?
Well, I think a lot of people are pissed off, and rightfully so. But what is the president, was the vice president going to do? Nothing. They went flip flopping from selling the rest of Trump's border wall for pennies on the dollar, refusing to actually close the border. They've let so many people in, so many drug traffickers, so many violent criminals in here, convicted violent criminals, and they're not doing anything. And they even gaslit us for years, for at least 3.5 years, saying this is the most secure border. Border crossings are down. We all know all of that's a lie. And now Kamala's running that she's going to fix this when she was a failed border czar. But one of those people that has been arrested, one of those people here recently that's been connected to the drug cartels within the city of St. Louis, is someone that's been working for the mayor's violence prevention program. But as we were sitting here, and I didn't give all this information to Ken, this goes back to the beginning of the mayor being in office, of criminals being connected with her policies and her office.
So, boy, there's so much there, Nick. But let's start with the end there, Tashara Jones, and how she fits into all this. Can you amplify on that a little bit?
Yeah, so most recently, a guy by the name of Samir Simpson Bey. And looking into his past, it looks like he was some sort of amateur boxer. He's 37 years old at the time when he was initially arrested. He was connected to a gang called the Black Mafia Family. And the Black Mafia Family actually has a show, I think, on Stars or something like that. They've got some sort of drama. But it's a legitimate, actual gang in the city of St. Louis. A whole bunch of these people were brought down back in 23, at the end of 23, for drug trafficking. But also at the same time, there was an accused drug cartel broker that was brought down as well, connected to the Sinaloa drug cartel. So the Sinaloa drug cartel connected with Samir Simpson Bey and the rest of the Black Mafia family that was taken down by the DEA. And he was working, as I said, for the mayor's violence prevention program. But just a couple of years before that, on the Cure Violence, which even I think the Today Show picked up for just a couple minutes, there was the scheme to cover up murders. And there was some murder for hire stuff that was also connected. One of the guys that got sentenced back to jail was a brother of a former Democrat state senator. And he indicated that, the St. Louis mayor, Tashara Jones, she needs to be praised for funding the community violence prevention programs. It's something that I think needs to be looked into. I'm going to be on a call later today with a state auditor who now we passed a bill this session. We passed a bill to allow the state auditor to go in and not get consent from these cities and any type of municipality or governing body. If he needs to audit them, he can do it without the consent of the mayor or the body. And I think that the mayor's office needs to be looked into. Look, they're already asking for more money to fix up the dome when we've got all the NFL funds and all these other funds that they're sitting on right now. But putting that aside, the connection with all of the people in the city, or the aldermen that have been brought down previously connected with crimes, with this gentleman who's connected with the Black Mafia family, connected to the drug cartels, and the fact that her office doesn't want to do a damn thing about the violent crime that is spreading not only throughout the city, but around the state. I think it's time that we start taking a close eye on what's happening in her office.
Not start. They should have all along, Vic.
Yeah.
And Nick, because look at it this way. I've had background checks multiple times for radio. I've had background checks for when my girls were in Girl Scouts and I was being one of the leaders, helping them. Background check after background check, and they can't background check these people.
You have background checked it for your firearms, I'm sure.
Firearms as well, yeah.
Right.
And they can't background check it. This guy's high up.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. One of the guys, the one that was brought down back in 22, that was part of that Cure Violence committee. And even before that, there was Bruce Franks Jr. that was tied into the mayor's office, that was close friends with Tashara Jones. He just got brought down in Arizona for a number of crimes. But this guy had just gotten out of prison, and the mayor's office hired him. Now, look, I'm all for giving people a second chance. But when you have a track record of person after person after person after person that you're hiring is continuing to commit crimes while taking state money, while taking local money as well, I mean, something's up here, and it does not smell right, because we see that all of these crime initiatives are not working. We see that St. Louis is not working with the FBI. The FBI has even scrutinized the fact that St. Louis is not turning their crime numbers in. The crime numbers don't match up. The researchers at SLU that are no friend of the Republican Party, these researchers are saying you cannot trust the crime numbers in the city of St. Louis. So what the hell is going on? Where is this money going to? And why is the drug cartel connected with the Black family mafia, or the Black mafia family that's being employed by the mayor's office?
Yep. All right, let's move this back up to the federal level. You know, you mentioned the wall. Ken, remind us again how much money Donald Trump wanted from Congress to build that wall. Was it $5 billion?
He fought for $5 billion
Okay.
and didn't get it.
$5 billion. And we've sent hundreds of billions of dollars to
Yes.
Ukraine. I mean, they made it look like it was so expensive, right? Oh, you can't have $5 billion for a wall. But here you go, Zelensky. Here's hundreds of billions of dollars.
You know, it's something that's just unfathomable. I can't wrap my mind around why somebody could be that stupid. But then you look at the people who were elected to Congress and you're like, well, okay, I guess the shoe fits. But yeah, you know, you're sending all of this money to a nation that we have really no contact with. And now you're in the middle of a war that's going to be escalated, no doubt. But yet you have, you know, all of these drugs, all of these violent criminals. When I went down, you know, talked to you guys when I was down at the border, after I got off the phone, I talked to Sheriff Lamb and a couple other sheriffs in Arizona, New Mexico, California. And they're saying how the cartel, since they know the terrain so well, and they've been doing this stuff for so long, the cartel is working with Hamas and Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations, and they're getting rich by being the coyotes, just like they've done in the past for sex trafficking and drug trafficking. They're now doing that with these high-priced assets. And even one of the, and I don't know if I told you about this, but even one of the farms, one of these big ranches, hundreds of thousands of acres that they have, they ended up catching 2 Chinese spies on their land. Then they ended up catching members of MS-13 and other violent gangs. So the fact that this administration can turn a blind eye to what is happening on our southern border that's directly impacting us, whether it's the drugs, whether it's the violence, people getting stabbed in my district, police officers getting ran over, but yet you can send all of our hard-earned money to Ukraine and to other wars that are happening right now. But then when a hurricane hits in our area, and our people, those hard-earned people that are producing those tax dollars that you want to throw all around the world, you're only going to give them crumbs and say, yeah, we'll send you $750. People need to be pissed off. And if you're not rising up and voting come November, then I don't know what the hell to tell you. You need to have your head examined.
Back to this violent, illegal immigrant that killed the police officer. So ICE, right? That's where it all starts, with ICE when somebody comes across the border. And let's not forget that Kamala Harris wanted to abolish ICE, which means why build a wall? Why have a border patrol? Just put up the welcome sign and let them in. So I think, you know, part of this blame starts with Kamala Harris and trying to get rid of ICE.
Yeah, the rot is deep. And, you know, ICE is a problem. Back in 2020, when this guy committed heinous crimes in St. Peters and St. Charles County, I reached out to St. Charles County to say, you know, in 2020, when he was charged, why wasn't he kicked out of here? And they said, well, guess what? Well, just like with any other illegal immigrant that comes through, we contact ICE. And they said, no, you can just hold them for now. We've got all this stuff going on with COVID. And you know what? Just hold them for now because you're going to sentence him and then contact us again. So they sentenced him 2 years later. He was sentenced for beating up his wife, domestic violence issues, kidnapping his kid. The guy's under the age of 21 at the time, and he was drunk driving with his kid in the car. All of these heinous crimes, they sentence him. They contact ICE, come get him, come deport him. ICE says no. That was in 2022. And, you know, we're seeing how ICE is turning a blind eye to all of these violent criminals pursuant to a report that just came out of Congress last week. We've got, you know, thousands upon thousands of convicted murderers running around that ICE is not going to detain. Thousands and thousands of sexual assault criminals, pedophiles that are running around this country that ICE will not detain. These are not my statistics. These are coming from Congress. And yeah, you know, Kamala Harris was the border czar. CBS News wants to try and deny that once again, but you guys reported on it. I reported on it, and she's been a failure ever since. And you know, giving somebody a promotion who has failed this bad at this job that is so important, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling that the media is doing her bidding. What I think they need to do is file file a report with the Ethics Commission, similar, the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission. They need to file a report because it looks like they're giving contributions, and if they're not, it's election interference.
Yeah. At the debate the other night, J.D. Vance, there's a couple of times that he could have really buried Waltz with a haymaker, and one of the ones I thought that he should have said, and he did a great job. I'm not criticizing J.D. Vance, but the Border Patrol, which, the Kamala Harris campaign said, oh, the Border Patrol, endorses us. No, they don't. Matter of fact, they put out a statement that said, we have never and will never support Kamala Harris. We support and endorse President Trump. And, those Border Patrol guys are the guys who really know what's going on down there.
Well, when they were talking about, the experts and the experts this and the experts that, I was waiting for J.D. Vance to say, look, we trusted the experts back during COVID, and look what that got us. Yeah. Even they're admitting now that, listening to those experts shut down the economy. So what do you think of that, Tampon Timmy? And then let's turn to the experts. Let's turn to the experts at the border that are saying we should not trust Kamala Harris, and the experts at the border that are putting life and limb and blood, sweat, and tears on the line. They're endorsing Donald Trump because they've seen that this is the first, and this is what they told us when we were down at the border just a couple of weeks ago. This is the first presidential team with Kamala Harris at the helm of it that is actually taking us backwards. They've done nothing good, and they're actually fighting the Border Patrol and state officials. So look, let's listen to the experts when it comes to the border. And guess what? Those experts are saying go vote for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance in November.
Boy, no kidding. All right, Nick, good job being on the War Room podcast. Thanks for throwing our name in there. We appreciate that. And we'll hear you Sunday night, 6 to 8 on Stand and Fight, Senator.
God bless you, boys. Have a great week.
Hey, God bless you, Nick. Take care, man.
Bless you back, Senator. Okay. I think it was great that he got on there because, here's the problem, Ken. Missouri's a great red state, yeah?
Yeah.
But we still have problems. And from no fault of us being a red state or any Republicans, these illegal aliens are coming into our state because every state's a border state and murdering our citizens, our Missouri citizens.
When you have 25 million, and I'm saying I raised my number even.
Yeah, you did.
When you have 25 million illegal aliens coming in, 13,000 of which are convicted murderers, yeah, you're going to get that in every state, Vic. There's no way we can stop this thing. I heard someone say in after November 15th, a lot of these people aren't going to be getting those funds, those kickbacks that they've been getting to support them. What are they going to do?
Yep. So the Democrats, they run on abortion. That's it. That's their only thing that they run
there
on.
There it is.
We're going to poke holes even in that.
Okay.
When we get back. On 101.9 and 94.1, News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Remember, they're coming after me because I'm standing up for you.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Bush.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump.
We have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com.
I grew up in a working class family in a neighborhood where I knew a lot of young women who had unplanned pregnancies and decided to terminate those pregnancies because they feel like they didn't have any other options. And, you know, I one of them is actually very dear to me. And I know she's watching tonight, and I love you. And she told me something a couple years ago that she felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect innocent life in this country, who proudly wants to protect the vulnerable, is that my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue where they frankly just don't trust us. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump and I are endeavoring to do. I want us as a Republican Party to be pro-family in the fullest sense of the word. I want us to support fertility treatments. I want us to make it easier for moms to afford to have babies. I want it to make it easier for young families to afford a home.
So that was from the debate on Tuesday night. The topic was abortion. And let's just set some stuff straight right off the bat, Kenny. President Trump does not support a national abortion ban.
No, he said it twice. He said it twice in the debate. He looked at, in fact, when they said that to Trump, he looked like, well, no, I sent it. It's not even a topic of discussion right now.
Right.
I sent it back to the states. There you go.
But that's the point. You know, they'll just keep saying it. You know, the things they say that aren't true, they're so ridiculous. Somebody said recently, it might have been Kamala herself, oh, well, Donald Trump's father gave him $400 million. You know.
Yeah, I don't even know where that came from.
So it's like things are so untrue. I think we're allowed to say anything we want, and it doesn't matter how truthful it is. So I'm going to start now. Is that okay?
Okay.
Did you know that Kamala Harris was born with a crocodile head?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
See, I heard rumors of that.
Yeah. Plastic surgery made her look as human as possible, but she actually was born with a crocodile head.
And she still looks a little bit crocodile-y, but
and that's the truth. She does look like a crocodile. It's hard to get it all out.
Yeah.
You know. But it sounds ridiculous, but that's what they do, Ken.
They do it every single time, Vic, because you know why? They have a propaganda media. They have that's their wing of their party. They have the media in their back pocket. And proof of this, okay, I wanted to say this because this morning on the Today Show, we always watch that, and I hate to. It bothers me. It really bothers me to do so. But I realized something this morning, Vic, on the Today Show. I realized that this is proof that they're backing the Democrat Party. for 3.5 years, Kamala Harris was never mentioned in national or international affairs in any way, shape, or form. It was always Joe Biden.
Yep.
All right, Joe Biden made a statement today. Here's Joe Biden. He's going to be visiting with so-and-so, internationally. Today, would they talk about how Kamala Harris is going to or she went to the border? How Kamala Harris is talking about the Israeli conflict. I mean, they're backing her. That is information for a campaign slogan.
Yes, it really is. And you're right. And you know what? The border czar thing, yeah, she was the border czar. CBS themselves called her the border czar. We didn't make that phrase up. They called her the border czar.
We did a collage of many, many media people saying, now new border czar, Kamala Harris.
She's not the border czar. And now she's not the border czar. That's
Right.
what they say now.
Where did you hear that?
So I'm sorry, we're getting off track.
Yeah, we are.
So what you heard there from J.D. Vance at the debate was him on the topic of abortion. And I love the way he said he wants to be pro-family, Who can argue with that, whether you're for abortion or not for abortion?
I'm telling you, pro-family is a dirty phrase for people on the left. It really is. That's like saying patriotism. That's like saying you love the American flag.
Yeah. So Governor Knucklehead brought up Amber Thurman's case, who, because the big thing that they say now is, well, women will bleed to death in their cars in the hospital parking lot because they're not allowed to go inside and have a DNC or an abortion. So Amber Thurman, and I think we talked about this yesterday. Amber Thurman died from one of the side effects of the abortion pill. Their own argument killed Amber Thurman.
Yeah, that combined with sepsis. They said there were still baby parts inside of her from the abortion.
Right.
And then that pill, she was sick for like 3 days.
Yep. She died due to complications caused by the drug, which I can never say, mifepristone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Which was legally administered to her by a North Carolina abortion facility that failed to provide the medical attention that might have prevented her death. And the point is, nothing Donald Trump has done or said, nothing that J.D. Vance has done or said was the cause of Amber Thurman's death.
No.
Nothing.
And why didn't J.D. Vance say, oh, yeah, by the way, that was the abortion pill that helped kill her?
I don't think he knew. I really don't think he knew. He can't know everything. I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying, oh, why didn't you know? Something happened too that was weird at the debate. We'll get back to this in a second. But Walt said that his son witnessed a school shooting.
Yeah.
I doubted that ever happened,
Right.
And then J.D. Vance, the next time he got to speak, he said, I didn't know your son witnessed a school shooting. I'm very sorry to hear that. So now Waltz is stuck with that story, and it better be true.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody's checked that yet.
Because Vance didn't push, and I don't think he can push on something like that.
Well, you don't want to push, but you do want to investigate. You want to find out.
But I think he started the ball rolling just by saying, I didn't know your son.
Yeah.
School shooting thing.
You're right.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't know if he was being facetious. I don't know if he was trying to get a statement out of Waltz from that. But I think it was perfect the way he handled that.
I actually think that J.D. Vance was being sincere about that.
Yes.
The sympathies.
If it's true, though, Ken, that's the problem. We get sincere and we get somber about things that the Democrats say that we find out later are just not true.
You're right.
So you have to be careful to be somber.
I don't trust a word they say.
Unless you find out what they're saying is true. And how often is anything that the Democrats say true?
And can I say this again, Vic? I've said it before that, I'm not saying this about all Democrat civilians, that people who are Democrat go to work every day and come home. I'm saying that the Democrat leadership, they lie and they always will lie. And if you are voting for them, then you are complicit in the lies.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I completely agree with that.
That's, defines it a little bit better.
Candy Miller, tragic death and the death of her unborn child. Miller had several pre-existing conditions, including lupus, hypertension, diabetes, and depression, and is reported to have feared pregnancy because of those conditions. I'm not going to say what I normally say here because this girl is dead, but there are ways to prevent pregnancy in this country.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Miller reportedly never visited a doctor about her pregnancy. had Miller visited a doctor prior to ingesting the abortion pill and had the doctor determined that her pregnancy posed a substantial threat to her health, she would have qualified for an abortion under Georgia law.
Now, that's a big point there.
It's an enormous point. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that they keep saying that, oh, no matter what, they're going to die. They'll die before they get an abortion. That's not true.
But she was eligible for the abortion under Georgia law.
Yes.
3 days before her death, Miller took mifepristone.
You got it.
That was obtained online from Aid Access. So this girl got pregnant and never talked to a doctor about it. She got the pills online, and now she's dead. The baby's dead. And I don't think Donald Trump or J.D. Vance or anybody else had anything to do with her death except herself. I'm not trying to be callous about this girl's death.
Not at all.
But she could have prevented her own death by, first of all, preventing her own pregnancy, and then afterwards seeing a doctor, and all these pre-existing conditions, he would have said, yeah, you know what? I don't know if you're really fit to carry a baby.
Well, and also helping to contribute to prevention, Vic. Let's say this now. Don't get that pill unless you talk to a doctor.
Don't do anything unless you talk to a doctor.
That pill, they make it sound like that pill, it's a pill, you take it, it's gone. That's not the way that pill works. That pill's very dangerous in some people.
Well, there we go. Two people right there who are now dead and can't even talk about it. So I like what J.D. Vance said, that he wants to be pro-family.
Yeah.
And can I just go back just very quickly? I know I've told this story before, but Ken and I used to work for a company called Bonneville International.
Yep.
Owned by the Mormons,
Yeah.
right? The Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. And when they came to tell us about their company, friends in the business. I hate radio people. I swear to God, I hate people that are in radio. I hate them all. I hate every single one of them.
You don't.
Except the ones that work here.
No, you don't. Stop.
But they were like, oh, they're going to make you Mormons. They're going to turn you into Mormons.
I
You're
know.
going to be a zombie.
I remember that.
Right? They all said,
are you going to wear that special underwear?
Right. Why don't you shut up? Okay. And let them buy the station and let them talk about it.
Well, now real quick, I actually did have someone email me and said, well, I know you're Mormon. I said, well, no, I worked for a Mormon for 14 years.
You got to be kidding me.
No, people just understand it that way.
Was that somebody in radio?
No, just a listener.
I hate people too. Just like it.
No, you don't.
But they told us about how the company is, how the healthcare was and all that stuff. They had a pension plan. Tell me another company, especially radio, which has a pension plan.
Yeah.
Right. And then the very end, the last thing that Bob Johnson told us, he said, "Oh, one last thing." He said, "And if you want to adopt a baby, we'll pay for it."
How about that?
What a great pro-life message without being controversial, and nobody can say a word about that.
Yeah. And I said just the listener. I mean the listener. Nothing just about them.
What?
The very special listener. I said that wasn't a radio person, it was just a listener. I didn't mean that way. Our listeners are very special to us.
You got to watch everything you say now.
I know, but yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I don't want to hurt your feelings. You're not just a listener.
No.
And then another listener says, "Wait, why am I just a listener?"
Right.
God.
No, that's why we cater to you every second of the day.
All right. Besides people who work at this radio station and the great people who listen to this radio station, I hate people. I hate people who aren't any of those people. The annual Lincoln Reagan Day dinner is Saturday night at River City Casino Ballroom. Yay! Speaker J.J. Carroll will talk. This is a guy talking about the border. He was the deputy patrol agent in charge, served under presidential administrations of Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. He saw Biden and he went running and he retired. He didn't want to work under Bush, under Biden. So that's coming up this coming Sunday night at River City down in South County. All right, coming up next, big strike going on, right? People hoarding toilet paper again.
Stop.
I mean, I hate people.
We got to talk about it.
You
don't hate people.
But there's going to be shortages. It's not our fault, okay? It's the people on strike's fault. We'll talk to Patrick Semmens from Right to Work. He's next on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
You, if anybody, do not hate people.
I hate some people.
Okay.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
After I signed the PAC Act into law, the PAC Act
On Newstalk STL.
A few weeks ago, we had 3 people involved with the United States Air Force in our studio. One was Senator Bill Eigel. The other was his wife, Amanda. And the third was Staff Sergeant Jeremy Jefferson, who is currently serving our country in the Air Force. And his job is to recruit people into the Air Force. Nicest guy. I mean, he really was like the nicest guy. And Bill Eigel, nah, he's all right. But Amanda's great. No, I'm kidding. Bill Eigel's great. But they talked about how great it is to be in the Air Force. So if you or a son or daughter of yours want to or had a feeling like they wanted to be in the Air Force or Space Force, let's go. Get in now. Here are some of the benefits. Competitive starting salary, free education opportunities. That's like even more to the competitive starting salary kind of, right? When you get the free education. Earn 30 days of vacation. 30 days.
Wow.
30 days of vacation.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I know. And they have the best food, apparently.
Yes. Bill Eigel said that, right? The best food. Tax-free food, clothing, and housing allowances, a chance to live, work, and travel overseas, and retirement after 20 years of service. And I bet you didn't know this, over 200 different careers in the Air Force and Space Force. So call Sergeant Jefferson today. The office is right on Manchester Road in Baldwin, 314-295-6834. That's 314-295-6834.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Thursday on the Allman Report, new polls suggesting the crumbling of the Harris Walls campaign. It's on the Allman Report on Newstalk STL.
Jamie Allman. Weeknights at 8 on Newstalk STL.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring. Like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
No.
Is your computer giving you headaches? Make it happy again with Jeff Computers. For 30 years, this locally and family-owned business has been the St. Louis area's trusted one-stop shop for cybersecurity, managed IT, and data recovery services. Choose the experts at Jeff Computers. They offer computer protection plans and can recover your lost or damaged data. Visit them in Ellisville or call 636-256-7901. Online at jeffcomputers.com. And tell them Newstalk STL sent you.
Missouri, your voice matters.
Jobs and the economy are the most important issues in the coming election.
I think we need some kind of change.
The Farmers Co-op, Old Town Country Store, and Newstalk STL remind you that November 5th, you have the power to shape our state and nation's future.
My vote counts.
Get out to vote November 5th, because the future is in your hands.
Everybody has the right to vote.
I do vote because I want to matter.
Get out to vote. Brought to you by the Farmers Co-op, Old Town Country Store, Joe Bacardi's, and Senior Memorial Life. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
So I say this gently. The Biden administration sucks.
Correct! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's Newstalk STL.
Yep. Welcome to it. Porcelli's Deli 1025 today. We are going to talk about how a certain thing influences the way we speak every day. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. That's at 1025. Nate Lucas, communications specialist for U.S. Representative Eric Burlison at 1005. And right now, the vice president of the National Right to Work, Patrick Semmens, or Simmons? Semmens?
You got it right the first time, yeah.
Semmens, okay. Patrick, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We have Mark Mix all the time, and I feel like Mark and Kenny and I, we say the same things over and over again that the left just doesn't understand, and certainly union bosses don't understand. And before we get into this strike happening right now on the East Coast, and you and I never got to talk about this, that Sean O'Brien, we were nice enough to invite Sean O'Brien to the Republican National Convention. He took us up on the invitation, spoke at the convention. The Democrats don't invite him to the DNC, and yet he didn't endorse Trump for president. Is he stupid, or I don't know what?
It's almost like it was set up that way from the beginning, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I think this is really a good example of something I know, you and Mark have talked about and that we see all the time, which is this massive disconnect between union bosses and the rank and file. I mean, the Teamsters were unusually transparent in this process, not as it pertains to how the outcome ended up, but they admitted that they polled their members twice. They asked them, say, Trump or Harris, and they said Trump, and they probably polled him again, hoping maybe they get a different answer, but they got the same answer once more. And yet, despite all that, at the end, they said, well, we can't endorse Harris because she didn't get a majority, but we also can't endorse Trump because, well, I don't know. The one thing they specifically mentioned was that he wouldn't commit to vetoing a National Right to Work Act. So that was very interesting in their statement. What's missing from that is the fact that every time we poll union members, they say they support right to work, which makes a lot of sense. They like the idea that they have choice over paying dues or not. Most of them pay dues voluntarily. That's fine. But the idea that if you're, let's say, the head of your union rejects your position on who to endorse, maybe you like the idea that you can hold them accountable by pulling your dues. And yet, that wasn't where Teamsters President Sean O'Brien took that.
Well, first of all, this is crap to begin with, okay? The rank and file, they voted overwhelmingly that they want Trump. And then the unions got the nerve to say, no, that can't be right. Let's ask them again. Right? You don't have to do it twice. You did it once. You didn't get the answer you want. Sometimes you don't get what you want. And I'm not sure union leaders understand that. And Sean Fain, UAW guy, admitted our rank and file will probably vote for Trump, but that's okay. We're going to, at the time he said Biden, and now Kamala's going to endorse Kamala. So now that leaves us with a strike at ports on the West Coast from Maine to Texas. And their union leader, I forget his name. I apologize for that. He's a bigger screwball than the rest of them. 70% raise. Ken, do we get a 70% raise this year?
Not quite.
No?
No, not quite.
You know what I'm saying, Patrick?
Yeah, well, Harold Daggett, he's quite the character, and the ILA union has a long history of corruption, mafia ties. I mean, this is a union that, going back to the 50s, they created the New York Waterfront Commission because of criminal activity and organized crime there. And that was only raised, I think that was only finally eliminated in the last 2 or 3 years. And that's because the state of New Jersey decided that they didn't like the bureaucracy, which anyone who knows the state of New Jersey, probably bureaucracy is not one of their top concerns.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a union with all sorts of corruption. This is a union boss who personally brings in. I was just looking at their LM2. He brings in about $900,000 a year, and so that's money paid for largely by workers who would be fired if they didn't pay dues. So yeah, I mean they're making this big push, and they're thinking that they can hold basically the country hostage, not so much just the ports, but everyone, and make the pain. And he's talked about crippling the economy. He's talking about how in week 1, groceries are going to start disappearing from the shelves. Yep. By week 2, there's going to be no cars to sell. After that, there's going to be construction, all the goods you need for construction. That's going to shut down construction sites across the country. And so this is a big power play, but a lot of it's actually about what's best for the union bosses, and again, not necessarily the rank and file. I mean, there were a system of hybrid ports where non-union workers could work alongside union workers at a lot of ports in right-to-work states, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia in particular, and the ILA has gone after that, and they actually got the Biden-Harris National Labor Relations Board to rule that that's illegal. And so those workers who were non-union, now if they want to work, they're swept up under the ILA as well. And so, they've been granted this monopoly by federal law, and then the interpretations of federal agencies, and that's what they're wielding here. So this is not like a voluntary situation where everyone wants workers to be paid fairly and for rewarded for hard work, but there's a lot more going on here.
We're talking with Patrick Semmens, Vice President of National Right to Work. Patrick, can we talk about this ILA president, union president for a second? Harold Daggett, you say?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, isn't he? He seems like he's really, really thirsty for power. Kind of like Kamala Harris is. I mean, he almost sounds like he glorifies in the threats that he's going to be disabling the country, basically, and it's almost like he loves the idea, and I think it's disgusting. I'm sure that there are some other things that he could be doing, like maybe close one port and say, see what happens, let's stop this, let's get these guys paid, okay? But he's not doing that. He's saying, oh, we're gonna shut it all down and I'm gonna be ahead of it.
And I think, just to add to what Ken's saying, added to what you said before about his mob ties, I mean, the way this negotiation's going, it sounds like the mob. I'll tell you what, we'll take 70% of raise. What do you think of that?
Oh, come on, really?
Am I right?
I mean, there's a certain comfort that that union bosses have with basically mafia tactics. I mean, let's not forget their core business model is telling workers, say, nice job you got there. If you want to keep it, I better get my envelope every month. I mean, that's literally what forced dues is.
Nice
Exactly.
job you got there.
Oh my God, that's exactly what it is.
Yes.
Union dues are the money that the protection guys bring back to the boss.
And what you always say, it'd be a shame.
It'd be a shame if you didn't get all these hours in and make all this money. All right, so the ports on the East Coast are what's being talked about now. I'm sure this will affect the West Coast, and boy, did the West Coast have their problems with the cargo ships stuck out there in the Pacific Ocean. But this has been floating around social media all night last night. American-made products are driven by American truck drivers and don't need cargo ships. Huh? How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, we've seen all this. So much of the products that we use now are being are coming in from overseas,
right?
And that's a little bit of an issue in this presidential election. I don't know, but again, you see union officials. They're more worried about their own power, and that's why Daggett and the ILA, they're given overwhelmingly to Democrats. Democrats are the ones who use federal agencies like the NLRB to enforce their monopoly. They want to enact the PRO Act so that there's not even things like secret ballot elections anymore. And if they can't get a contract, one of the aspects of the PRO Act is they'll get a government administrator to come in and just impose the contract. So, in this situation, if President Biden, if some appointee of the Biden administration were determining what kind of contract they would get, we know how it would end up. It would be exactly what Harold Daggett wants. And that's not, that's not what's best for the United States. That's not how freedom is supposed to work. And yet that's their focus is the politics and making sure that the forced dues keep coming in.
Now, it's not just the money, right? It's not just the 70% raise. They also don't want the use of automation, right? And the way technology goes now, automation is going to be, fast food workers wanted, $20 an hour, and guess what? A robot replaced them. So if they didn't want automation, I would think they should just stop right there. Automation and a 70% raise? Really?
Yeah, certainly automation. I mean, the United States has some of the least efficient ports in the world, and so there's actually a lot of automation that could make some ILA workers' jobs. It would make them more productive. It would make them more valuable, frankly, to these companies. But the problem for ILA union bosses is that may mean less total people working who could be essentially taxed and told, hey, pay up or be fired. So, the union's interest is as many workers as possible, not necessarily what's best for those specific workers involved. And this is something we see all, in every age, whether it's teacher unions. Teacher unions, they love, creating administrators and all these people who can be unionized and forced to pay money. And it's not necessarily about, raises for the best teachers. It's about creating more people who can then go to again and say, hey, nice job there, pay up or be fired.
No, I'm glad you brought up the NEA, okay? Because Randy Weingarten, when she goes under crazy tirades, she never talks about the kids.
Never.
She talks about the collective bargaining agreement, and we got to get more money and more time on. What about the kids? They never mention them.
Yeah, well, that kind of goes back to, there's an old quote, and I'm blanking on the name of the longtime NEA attorney and head counsel who said it, but it's, when students start paying union dues, we'll start representing the interests of students. I think it's something like that.
Wow.
And, you see that every day with teachers unions and teacher union bosses. We've seen all sorts of times where workers get laid off, good teachers get laid off, and the union, there's a famous case out of California, actually made it all the way to the Supreme Court and ended up tying 4-4 after Justice Scalia passed away after oral argument. But in that case, the lead plaintiff, Rebecca Friedrichs, talked about how, they had a big recession in California, the tax base was dropping, and they were going to have to lay off teachers. And the teachers at the school said, hey, there's a lot of good teachers, people who don't have seniority, they're going to be laid off. Can we all just pause our raise that's scheduled, and that'll let us keep some of these really good teachers in the school? And they went to the union, and you said, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
They said, well, can we vote on it? And they said, no, we're not even going to vote on it. But don't worry. The California Teachers Association has a class they can take on how to apply for unemployment benefits.
Patrick, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's their view. Hey, don't worry, we'll just get them on welfare if they lose their job as a result of the teachers union contract.
Sure. Of course. Patrick Semmens, VP of National Right to Work. Great to talk to you. Give our best to Mark Mix, and tell him he'll need an absentee note from his mother when he comes back. Okay.
Will do. Thanks, Vic and Ken. Thank you.
All right, take care.
The teachers union. I'm glad he brought that up, because I'm not against unions, Ken. I don't think you're against unions.
No.
It's the union leadership. And the reason why Right to Work started to begin with was because the people who, I don't know. All right.
We'll continue.
Nate Lucas is next on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Zero Res, the cleaning pros we trust with our home, and the team bringing you a great offer for the month of October. Book a cleaning this month and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Don't let the germs hiding in your home haunt your family. Call Zero Res now and take advantage of this scary good deal. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Are you ready to stand against tyranny, strengthen the conservative movement, and enjoy tasty barbecue? Don't miss the 4th annual Missouri Young Republicans Freedom Fest Barbecue. Join us Saturday, October 12th at the St. Louis County GOP headquarters in Fenton. We've got an exciting lineup of invited speakers and mouthwatering barbecue. RSVP now at STLYRS.com. That's STLYRS.com. Presented by News Talk STL and Missouri Young Republicans.
Blue Oyster Cult is back live. Friday, October 4th at the Family Arena with special guests Tommy DiCarlo, a former lead singer of Boston, and Jason Sheff, longtime lead singer of Chicago. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Blue Oyster Cult, the Roots and Boots Tour, 90s Electric Throwdown with Sammy Kershaw. That's my story. Colin Ray. Oh, that's my story. And Aaron Tippett. Saturday, November 9th at the Family Arena.
But there ain't nothing wrong.
Reserve seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office, located at the Family Arena or at Ticketmaster. Roots and Boots Tour, 90s Electric Throwdown.
Navigating healthcare can be tricky, but you don't have to do it alone. The Navigator Project is here to help Missourians every step of the way. We provide free, personalized assistance with enrollment in the healthcare marketplace. We'll guide you through your options, help find the right plan, and get the coverage you need. Go to ma4web.org and select the Services tab to find a navigator. Brought to you by the Missouri Association of Area Agencies on Aging.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Biden today tours hurricane damage in Florida and Georgia. Yesterday, he took an aerial tour of areas of North Carolina devastated by Hurricane Helene, and he dispatched 1,000 National Guard troops to assist in recovery. Actively involved in private relief efforts, former President Trump, he's visited the disaster zone. And Pastor Eric Williamson in Hendersonville, North Carolina, has been making the rounds. He's checking on some members of his flock who
don't have telephone service. Even if they have a landline, a lot of that isn't working. So bringing down food and water, but also just bringing them a smile and a prayer with them. Just to give them comfort.
The storm-related death toll is approaching 200 across 6 southern states. Israel continues hammering Hezbollah, saying its forces killed about 15 of the group's operatives during an airstrike on a building in southern Lebanon. Meanwhile, 8 Israeli troops were killed in an ambush. In Ukraine, authorities say Russia has hit another civilian target. Correspondent Hannah Arhairova is in Ukraine.
Last night, Russian troops fired glide bombs at the second largest city in Ukraine, Kharkiv, and one of the bombs hit a residential building, a 5-story building where 12 people were injured. This is according to local officials. Local authorities believe that several glide bombs were fired, though they didn't elaborate on the exact numbers of the bombs.
Ukrainian officials say a 3-year-old girl is among those injured in the attack. Oil prices on the rise as the world awaits Israel's response to this week's Iranian missile attack. On Wall Street, the Dow down 278 points. The NASDAQ is off 49. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A warming trend begins today with highs in the 80s all the way through the weekend. So warmer southerly flow kicking in, joining forces with full sunshine to push temperatures up to about 82 this afternoon. Humidity still low, though, so it's warmer, but still fairly pleasant. 70s this evening, our Friday morning low dropping to 58. 83 and mostly sunny Friday afternoon, and I've got us at a toasty 87 on Saturday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Yep, another hour. That first hour just flew right by.
I know.
Another hour, which will probably fly right by as well. And a big reason of that is our first guest this hour, and that is Nate Lucas, who is the communications specialist for U.S. Representative Eric Burlison. I got some questions that Nate can maybe ask the representative. Good morning, Nate. How are you?
I'm good. Vic and Ken, happy Thursday. I'm staring right at the rotunda. I'm sitting on the Capitol stairs, and the sun finally came out in Washington, D.C. It felt like a month-long funeral of rain, and maybe we're just waiting to, get rid of this administration. Right. It's nice to see the sun.
It's funny. If you watch any movie if you watch any movie that's set in Washington, D.C., you can see the Capitol out of any window in the entire movie. And every window somehow faces the Capitol.
Wow.
Just like when I get Italian bread, a long piece of Italian bread from the supermarket.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I know.
The Capitol building, the architecture, Italian bread.
I'm getting there. Also in the movies, when you have a loaf of bread like that, you have to have it in a paper bag, and the loaf has to be sticking out of the bag.
Of course.
Happens in every movie. All right, so listen, I'm sick to death of any time you say 2020, the left jumps all over you, right? Even people on our side jump all over you. Can't litigate 2020, right?
Well, look at Pence.
So here's a headline: Biden administration accused of trying to bury voter fraud concerns. So whenever you bring up any election, somebody on the left will say, well, there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. And I always say, why do we have to wait till it's widespread?
Yeah. Well, and here are just the numbers. I mean, the Department of Justice is suing Alabama for purging non-citizens from their voter rolls. North Carolina recently removed 750,000 people from their voter roll, which included 130,000 dead people. The Attorney General in Virginia identified 6,300 non-citizens on their voter rolls in 2022 and 2023. And Texas removed 6,500 non-citizens from their voter rolls. And of those people, 1,900 of them had a history of voting. So it's really fascinating because, what passed in the House, and last week we talked a little bit about this, but this continuing resolution, stripped of the SAVE Act, which all Democrats supported to fund the government on the short-term funding bill. And they did not vote for it in the week prior, which had the SAVE Act attached to it. And all the SAVE Act does is require proof of citizenship to vote. And the reason why Democrats won't go along with that SAVE Act is because they know that they need all of these illegal aliens, whatever you believe the number to be. If it's the Border Patrol's 8.2 million, or if you believe, like I do, it's much closer to 20 million, they need those votes. And quite frankly, there's no other answer that they could give other than the fact that that's why they refused to pass the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act, by the way, the joke of it all is that it already passed over the summer. And so it's been sitting on Senator Schumer's desk, and he refuses to bring it up in the Senate, and that's unfortunate.
And Nate, you missed Arizona. They eliminated they eliminated something north of 150,000 illegal voters, and the Republicans are actually trying to purge at least 500,000 people from the Arizona voter rolls.
Yeah. I think the rhetoric is so ridiculous. They keep asking during these debates, do you promise that you will certify the results of the 2024 election, and will you deem it fair? It's like, well, let's wait and see.
Right.
I don't need to. I'm not signing anything in blood. If it's anything like 2020, then no, I won't. And it's just, it's really a shame. I think we need, strict voting ID laws in this country in every single state. And once that happens, I think Democrats will be scrambling as to how they're going to make up their short votes, because it's obvious to me that they're using illegal aliens to vote in our elections.
Yep.
And this is also something, how they always talk about how democracy is at stake, democracy is at stake. Give me a break. The most important thing in our country, which is, the ability to vote, so to speak, and have our voices heard through the ballot box. Like, people go drop off these ballots in just random boxes located around town, and then we trust the U.S. Postal Service to handle these these ballots. So all of the safety nets that are supposed to be out there to protect our democracy, they don't seem very secure.
Right. And they always ask Trump at a debate, will you accept the results of the election? And it's a trap question from the beginning, because if he says no, well, the peaceful sounds of Washington, D.C. in the background there, sirens and police cars.
Probably another homicide, no big deal.
Right. So if he says no, Well, see, he won't. He's a threat to democracy. If he says yes, they're going to hold him to it.
Yeah.
After the election is over. And you're right, Nate. The right answer to that is, well, we'll see. We'll see how fair the election is.
And that's what Trump said.
Yeah.
But there's such gotcha questions. You know? I mean, these anchors who have hosted these debates, I thought that they were just embarrassing again this week, particularly Margaret Brennan.
She
I mean,
sucks.
there is just not enough. You cannot dislike her enough. But, yeah, I mean, they bring up those two topics between the 2020 election and January 6th as if they think, the American people still give a rat's ass about those two topics. It's like, no, we don't.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about back to the non-citizens voting. If in 30 days, whatever, how many days it is till we vote, if we win the White House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, then I think they need to pass you have to be a citizen law. I don't know what you'd call it.
Right.
And then codify it, right? They always talk about codifying Roe v. Wade. Let's codify killing babies. Yeah, let's do that. Let's codify that you have to be a citizen to vote. No, that's a threat to democracy.
And that's the most important thing right there.
Right. Well, Nate said it's our first real line of freedom is to vote.
I think it really pins these politicians in a tricky spot because how can you defend funding the government, but you won't attach, a provision in there to secure the elections?
Right.
I mean, even Democrats that are in tough districts that, bleed one way and sometimes go the other way, like how can you tell your voter base that that's not a primary, that should, like, it's so obvious. And yet, that's why I think it even passed, like when it first passed over the summer, it had some Democrat support. I mean, maybe a handful voted for the CR with the SAVE Act attached like 3 weeks ago. But it's very strange. And with this Republican leadership in this House under Mike Johnson, they, quite frankly, and I think Congressman from Missouri, Eric Burlison, would say the same thing. Like, it's been pretty disappointing, the lack of legislation that they've been able to get passed. But this is the bureaucracy, doing its thing. When you don't have the Senate and you don't have the executive branch, it makes it very difficult for Congress to actually push things and pass things that have any substance whatsoever. They just get shot down immediately.
Yep. All right. I want to try to fit two more topics in here real quick, Nate. One being that this story is proof that you can hate a person more than you love your country, or you can hate a person more than you hate your constituents, right? Because Elon Musk was going to offer Starlink to people who were victims of this hurricane, and they made him take down Starlink in North Carolina. So the hate for Elon Musk was more important than saving anybody and being able to communicate with those people.
And on top of that, Nate, Biden just announced that he's allowing Starlink, and he's the one who did it. Basically.
Oh, God.
So they're going to take credit. And while everyone understands that the Biden-Harris administration and the DOJ are doing everything they possibly can to try to take Elon Musk out. And I have serious concerns if Kamala Harris somehow pulls this off, which I don't think she's going to, and I pray that she won't. But I think they'll come after Elon. Can you imagine where we would be from an information standpoint if Elon Musk hadn't bought X and allowed for that platform to be reestablished as a place where you can actually have a roundtable or a open talking forum and not be worried about censorship? So Elon Musk is vital, I think, to the conversation moving forward. But also, just getting back to the main point of the hurricane damage and their lack of response, it just goes to show you these people in this administration, they absolutely despise rural America. And when we can sign bills that send another $8 billion to Ukraine, $8.7 billion to Israel, and the best that we can muster up is Kamala Harris being trotted out saying she's going to write a $750 check to those who have been impacted the most, which that's code language for something else we talked about last week, which is DEI. It's going to go to the people who need it the most. Okay. So, I mean, that is just such a slap in the face. And FEMA, which is apparently out of money, and Alejandro Mayorkas is up there, asking for more money. It's like, well, wait a second. How many billions of dollars did you give to illegal aliens and flying them all over the country and setting them up in luxurious hotels with prepaid Visa cards and cell phones? And how much of that is now, your inability to take care of American people who are being absolutely crushed already through this pathetic economy? And now they've been hit with a natural disaster, and we don't have money because we've tied it up with illegal aliens? I mean, this government and this administration is just despicable, and their lack of giving a damn about everyday Americans couldn't be more prominently displayed than their reaction and their response to Hurricane Helene.
And when you go on social media, Nate and Vic,
yep,
you can feel the frustration in the American people when they hear stuff like this. I posted that on X last night about Kamala Harris. $750, Nate, a one-time fee. And guess what? You've lost your home. You've lost all paperwork. You've lost family members. And they want you to fill out forms to get that $750 one-time check.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing to think that this is what their response would be. $750. I mean, it just makes you so upset, right? Because the number one job of the federal government should be, one, national security, to make sure that our homeland is safe. And number two, in times of disaster, knowing that we have a safety net built in to take care of the American people. And the fact that this government and this administration prioritizes illegal aliens coming from all over the country and they're importing the third world before they take care of their own is just an absolute treasonous derelict of duty, and they need to be held responsible criminally.
All right. I want to move on to another topic, but I just want to throw in here as a little punctuation. Neither Biden or Kamala have yet to visit East Palestine, Ohio. Just saying that. Okay.
Exactly.
So Jack Smith now waited to see the results of this VP debate, right? He realized, oh my God, Waltz is an idiot. He's a knucklehead. He's a liar. So let's unseal some of the things in the case against Donald Trump. And the way the media is covering this, they're saying, well, Donald Trump committed crimes. And that's all they say. Like, so vague. No, nothing specific. Is this the October surprise here?
Well, I watched about 10 minutes of the 24 minutes that Trump War Room pushed out on X yesterday. 24 straight minutes of Democrats questioning the outcome of the 2016 election. And they used stronger language in talking about Russia, and all of the things that we went through there. And, they can do it. And of course, there's no repercussion. But if Donald Trump does it, then it is the biggest attack on democracy that we've ever seen in this country. And I mean, I was watching CNN yesterday, and they were they were giddy about talking about this, the most comprehensive report to date. First of all, the way that Jack Smith was able to release all of this information was pushed through the courts and probably shouldn't have been able to occur. But they're just desperate to try anything to try to undermine Donald Trump and steer maybe independent voters away from him, to try to scare you into thinking that this is some big bad orange guy that's going to be an authoritarian, totalitarian dictator. And yet we had 4 years of him, and we didn't have any of that. And we had world peace. And now 3.9 months into this disastrous administration, it's like Rome is burning, and Donald Trump seems like the savior that hopefully comes in and restores our constitutional rights in this country.
Not to mention, Nate, according to their own theory, right, that if you push out disinformation, you should be jailed, an idea by Hillary Clinton. She's the first one that should go to jail with Donald Trump colluded with the Russians, when she's the one that colluded with the Russians.
Just look at these people, okay? John Kerry was sitting on a World Economic Forum panel recently, and he said that it's really difficult to do anything about the disinformation out there without being able to hold them responsible criminally. And you got Hillary Clinton on MSNBC talking about it. Kamala Harris saying that there needs to be repercussions for platforms like Twitter for allowing what they call disinformation. Tim Walz, who has deep ties and is being investigated by the Oversight Committee with his love affair and 30 visits to the CCP. I mean, it's littered with communistic foundational beliefs. And if you don't think that the First Amendment is on the ballot on November 5th, you need to do some homework, because it clearly is. And I'm telling you, they're going to take down Twitter and they're going to come after Elon Musk. And as they've proven, if they can come after a sitting United States president and kick him off and deplatform him and put him through the ringer like they did, they will come after you too.
And they're doing it, Nate. I mean, you guys just said it, but they actually admitted. I mean, Hillary Clinton, she was so wanting to say it, but she couldn't. So she got all choked up and she was stuttering. But she said at the very end, well, we need to stop them from saying the things they're saying. I mean, it's flowing out of them.
That's the thing about their idea about jail people who are putting out disinformation, because they think their information is the only right information.
Yes.
And we call that on this show elitist egocentrism.
Why did they get to set the parameters of what the information is? You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but I think a lot of people woke up to this when during COVID.
Yep.
And we saw all of the censorship online and what you could and couldn't say. And then it just became more and more obvious that, oh, if you don't repeat the government talking points, or if you don't stick with what Dr. Anthony Fauci was saying,
yes, sir,
then your take is disinformation. And in reality, years later, now we look back on what they were talking about, and it was all disinformation and misinformation. I mean, the vaccine alone, they spewed lie after lie. If you get the vaccine, you can't get COVID. It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. And we know that all of that is total BS. Some of these people now has 5, 6 shots, and they're still getting COVID. So it really disturbs me. And if you lose free speech in this country, then really what do you have?
That's it. You got nothing. Nate Lucas, communications specialist for U.S. Representative Eric Burlison. Give our best to the representative, Nate. Always great to have you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you, Nate.
Now he's a big Now he's a big shot. He works for Eric Burlison. He doesn't say cheers anymore. Did you notice that?
He
used to always say cheers.
You know, he's got to tone it down to
Big
the hair.
shot, right.
You know, a little bit, be a little more. I don't know, what do you call that? Leadership quality? I don't know. I think it's funny though.
Hey,
it's great.
Next is Porcelli's Deli. First, we're going to find out who is Kamala Harris.
Yeah, who is she?
We're going to find that out in just a second here. But then after that, we're going to go to Porcelli's Deli, and that's next on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
This is the real Kamala Harris.
It is wrong to somehow suggest that an undocumented immigrant is a criminal. Being an undocumented immigrant is not a crime. I know what a crime looks like. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. 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 And we have to correct course in this conversation. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
The real Kamala Harris on the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
That's Kamala Harris right there. Good job, Ken, putting those together. So Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. When we first met this guy, we knew he was a good guy, and we knew that we could trust him to send you to go see him.
Yep.
You know, there's nothing worse than being on the radio and saying, "Oh yeah, go see this guy," and then the listener calls you and said, "Here's a jerk." Well, guarantee that's not going to happen with Chris Cooper. And his ideas and his smartness is just so valuable for you. And if you go to Serenity Wealth Management at their office, you're going to see not what you would think, right? You walk into one of these offices and it's stuffy and nope. It looks like a living room. Okay, a couch, fireplace, TV, picture Kramer on the wall. But when you get down to, in the radio studio, because Chris has a show at 9:00 every Sunday morning right here on NewstalkSTL. But he'll give you tax-efficient solutions for so many things. Long-term care, right? Something you can't really plan for, but you have to be able to pay for it and still end up with money to live out the rest of your life comfortably. He'll help you with that. Who do you leave your money to? Do you leave it to the government through taxes? No. Do you leave it to the medical or care community? No. Nothing against them, but they're expensive. But you do want to leave it to your children or the charity of your choice. Okay. So get the ball rolling with Serenity Wealth Management by reading Chris's new book. It's called he said holistic way before Kamala, by the way. Okay. New Holistic Retirement at serenitynowtax.com. That's serenitynowtax.com. Serenity Now with Chris Cooper.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.
Serenity Now!
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to bring you the best price ever on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets. If you're on the front line fighting Hamas, you need the best sleep possible on my exclusive Gaza Dream Bed sheets, made from the finest cotton in the world, grown only in a region between the Golan Heights, the Dead Sea, and the West Bank. My Gaza Dream Bed sheets will get you the great night's sleep you need to kill Hamas terrorists. Order now and get a pair of my pillow slippers to sneak up on those Hamas terrorists. Use the number on your screen and use the promo code SHALOM. Please order now.
You can't get food like this in Paris. Bring the family for breakfast and brunch to Nadine's Hash House, offering home-style cooked meals the way your mother made them. Try the savory Southside Slinger, the cinnamon streusel pancakes, or Nadine's famous hash. Make sure to follow Nadine's Hash House on Facebook for weekly specials. Open today from 7 to 1:30 in Soulard on Broadway. Nadine's Hash House. You can't get food like this in Paris. Nadine'sHashHouse.com.
When you make a big promise, you have to back it up with big actions, and that's what my friends at Window World do. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. Give them a call today, 314-993-1800. They are simply the best for less. Double strength glass windows that have a lifetime warranty on them. And now for the first time ever, Window World offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. Get your free in-home estimate today. Give them a call, 314-993-1800.
Hey, Columbo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Events with Israel and Iran are changing rapidly. We'll bring you the very latest. You make sure you join us.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Welcome to Porcelli's Deli.
Yes, very good. I'll have a Bloody Mary and a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich, please.
Gabagool. Over here.
Ketchup. Where's the ketchup at? I bet the Chinese food here is terrible.
With Vic Porcelli.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
Porcelli's Deli is moved to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Come on in. We're open. Have a seat. Vic will tell you a story.
Hi there. Thanks for coming in to Porcelli's Deli. We'll get that seat for you. A little booth in the back. Just stay with us. So today I want to talk about, I think everybody knows that listens to this show with any regularity, I do enjoy playing poker.
Yeah.
Playing poker with your friends in somebody's living room is different than playing poker in a casino with guys that do nothing but think poker and math. And, you know, the game's changed so much. But I used to be pretty good, Ken. You know, I used to go play in these tournaments at Ameristar and at Hollywood, and I would cash a lot to the point where the guy was like, "Wow, you're getting good at this." You know.
Did they ever ban you
For what?
for being too good?
No.
Okay.
Why would they do that?
That's a reference from a movie.
Oh, what movie is it?
It was I want to say Night Shift.
Okay.
From a long time ago.
So I don't play much anymore, but I still like to watch it on TV. I like to play a little bit online, but you don't realize it until you really dig into it, how many things we say in real life every day is inspired by poker, you know?
Yeah.
If people say, "Oh, he's under the gun." Do you hear people say he's
Yeah,
under the
oh,
gun?
yeah.
If you're playing, especially Texas Hold'em, right? You got the button, then you got the small blind, then you got the big blind, right? The seat right to the left of that is the first seat to act after the cards have been dealt. That seat is called under the gun.
Oh, okay.
So that's where that phrase came from. They say, life dealt me a bad hand. That's obvious, right?
Right.
That it's a poker thing. When somebody says, "Oh, I got an ace up my sleeve," though, don't you worry about it, right? People would cheat by having an ace up their sleeve.
Yeah.
If somebody says, "Oh, he overplayed his hand," you ever hear people say that they overplayed his hand?
Oh yeah, over skis, but over
Exactly,
yeah.
same kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Overplaying your hand means if you have an ace king and there's no ace and no king up there on the table, and you keep betting at it, you're overplaying your hand. Your hand's not good enough to be playing it that aggressively, right?
Right.
Wild card. Wild card in baseball, wild card playoffs, wild card. We always just play wild card, obviously.
Everything, yeah.
From cards and from poker. Let's raise the stakes in here.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That means going from maybe a 1-5 game, meaning a 1 small blind, 5 big blind, to a 25-50, right? Raise the stakes. Did you ever hear somebody say, "Well, he says something and other people just follow suit"? That's clearly a card game, right? There's lots of trick-based games where you have to follow suit. You have to follow the suit. If we're playing a game like bridge or hearts or spades, or it's an old Italian game that the guys used to play called brisque. If I put a club down, you have to follow suit. You can't play anything else unless it's a trump card.
Okay.
Follow suit coming from playing cards. Are you with me here, Ken? Are you liking this?
Oh, I'm actually, I know I'm quiet about it, but I'm thinking about all these different things that I never knew referred to card playing. The vernacular in our country is so much involved with that, because I wonder if it comes from because at some point in this country's history, it was nothing but card playing a lot of times.
Sure was. And we'll tell a story about a card player from many, many, many years ago. People always say, "Did he react?" No, he had a poker face. Well,
yeah.
That's so obvious. So poker face is if you're playing cards and you end up with a royal flush, you can't go, "Woohoo!" Right? Everybody's going to know you got. So you have to have a poker face and not show any emotion one way or another.
Now, okay. This scenario, real quick. You're sitting there at a game. You're at the moment, and your opponent says, "All right, yeah." What would you do?
Well, it depends on who the player is.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously you're saying that's a tell, and you
Big
fold your
time,
hand, right? But good players do counter tells. They go woohoo, and they don't have anything.
Okay,
it's counter tell. It's all bluffing. Call somebody's bluff, obviously
there
from poker.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you have to be able to know when somebody's lying and when somebody's telling the truth. So there's plenty of things out there, plenty of things we say every single day that are based on poker. And you mentioned poker in the past, right?
Right.
Then we've talked about him briefly, but I don't think we got into it very deeply. His name was Wild Bill Hickok.
Yeah.
He was in Deadwood. Did you watch Deadwood when it was on HBO?
Actually, I did. I did a while ago.
I didn't watch hardly any of it. I watched a little bit. Obviously, I watched the Bill Hickok scene because it's about poker. But when I watched Deadwood, and they use like the F word all the time, I was like, I thought we invented that.
Right.
I thought that was our word.
Right.
F you, Dr. Fauci. So Wild Bill Hickok was both a lawman and an outlaw at the same time. And he was great with a gun, and he was great at poker. So while Bill Hickok is playing poker in Deadwood, so the mafia thing, Ken, I think you know this, never sit with your back to the door.
Yeah.
Right? So you can always see who's coming in. Well, Bill Hickok made the fatal mistake of sitting with his back to the door, and a guy came in and shot him in the back of the head while he was playing poker, and he died right there at the table. Now, I bring it up because he was playing poker, so he had a poker hand. He had his cards in his hand, and he was holding up 2 pair, aces and 8s, and those are called the dead man's hand.
And I was watching a movie on, I don't know if you know the side, it's like a side channel called Grit.
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's all old cowboy movies.
Oh.
Okay. And they had, he goes, aces and 8s.
Yeah.
And they looked at him, and he goes, dead man's hand. And it was just really, it's a suspenseful moment there.
Yeah. And so while Bill Hickok, a outlaw and lawman from the wild, wild west, is actually in the Poker Hall of Fame. He's in the Poker Hall of Fame. Yep. Along with Doyle Brunson. I'm sure you heard Amarillo Slim and names like that. So when you're going through your daily routine and somebody says one of these phrases, say poker term, right?
Right.
Yeah.
More than I ever thought there were.
Well, I'm sure there's more that I missed, but those are the only ones I wrote down. Maybe I should have wrote more down. I think that's it. All right. That's all the time we have for Porcelli's Deli on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us, and he began to speak. He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what the cards were by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces. For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light.
How's the Italian food in this restaurant? Good. Try the veal. It's the best in the city. I'll have it.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money. When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
The Vic Porcelli Show, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
The secret to surviving is
one of the lines in that song is don't count your chips when you're sitting at the table. That's like an etiquette thing, There's nothing worse than you're losing hand after hand and somebody who's winning a lot starts counting their chips.
Oh, like a slap in the face, yeah.
And if you've ever seen the Odd Couple, the character I played twice in that, Speed, says to Vinny, stop playing with your chips. I'm telling you now, stop playing with your chips. I love being that guy. Such a grouchy guy. What do you mean, yeah?
Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean?
Just great type
It's acting. I'm not grouchy. Okay, so Dr. John's, right? Make an appointment with Dr. John's. You don't have to actually make an appointment. We just say that because you make an appointment with doctors. You could just walk right into any of their stores in Fenton, Farmington, and Wood River and watch all of the great, or look at all the great full assortment of things that they have there, like novelties, lingerie, videos, sometimes videos gets the ball rolling, oils, lubes, and a lot more. And if you're looking for something out of the ordinary, Dr. John's has you covered. Male enhancement products as well, supplements, and female enhancement supplements. They didn't even know they existed, right? One-stop shop destination to fulfill all of your fantasies. Have some fun in the bedroom, okay? Bring your spouse and feel very comfortable, by the way, walking in to any Dr. John's location. Make an appointment with the doctor. Tell him News Talk STL sent you. 3 locations in Fenton, Farmington, and Wood River. Make an appointment with Dr. John's.
What happens next?
Hezbollah has openly declared that it plans to carry out its own October 7th massacre on Israel's northern border.
Happens right here.
The Israelis are looking to put new pressure on the Iran-backed group.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They will be impressed when they see your custom-made drapes, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you pick out the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design and personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you a lot of money on drapes, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Fox News commentary.
The big union boss leading the port strike isn't doing his cause any favors by running his mouth. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Promises to wreak havoc on the American economy and the average folks who are already struggling to afford things in Joe and Kamala's America. And while I'm not going to get into the merits of the strike or who's in the right or wrong, I do think it's important to have a discussion about the union boss whose tone-deaf bravado is not helping his cause. Harold Daggett, the leader of the International Longshoremen's Association, has been bragging to media outlets about how much damage the strike will do to the American consumer, which is true, but very insensitive, especially when so many folks are struggling in the aftermath of a major hurricane. Listen, the blue-collar workers that dude represents have my respect. They are backbone Americans. Do they deserve a 77% pay increase? I don't know. But what I do know is their union boss, Harold Daggett, isn't doing them any favors in the realm of public opinion. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
This hour, The Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Correct! Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Second of all, Walz is a buffoon. I'm sorry. This guy, he's the only school teacher in America who brags that none of his students can get into an Ivy League school. He's had one consequential press interaction with our Dana Bash, who asked him about the fabrications in his own resume. And his answer was essentially, me no understand words good. I mean, he's a buffoon. He's on a free ride for running under Harris.
You're not supposed to do that.
I know. Scott, come on, Scott.
So listen, Scott Jennings works for CNN. Yeah. Not like he was a guest.
Right.
The day after the debate the other night, even CNN was saying, Waltz just didn't do very good, and J.D. Vance was just great. Nope, not MSNBC. Joy Reid was telling us all the reasons and all the ways why Tim Waltz actually won that debate. And he is a buffoon. And what he said there was, he brags about that none of his kids went to Ivy League schools. And I call that striving for mediocrity. He brags about his kids don't go to Ivy League school. Now, if you go to Ivy League school, you're a terrible person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
that's a communistic Marxist view.
You're absolutely right.
Hey, Vic, it's Susie.
What, Susie Moore?
Suzanne.
Oh, Suzanne. Oh, Susan. Yeah. Hi, Suzanne. How are you? Sue, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, I thought it might be helpful, or maybe you already know. You can vote early at the Board of Elections up at Northwest Plaza, what used to be Northwest Plaza. They have, that's where the Board of Elections is. And we went up there, a neighbor. I didn't take 10. I only had one. But my neighbor and I went up there Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't have been treated any nicer.
Wow, great. Okay.
The people were really great, and it was a simple project.
I think you're really great.
What a great reminder, Sue.
Yep. Get out there and vote like Sue did. And bank now. Sue's vote is banked.
And she brought a friend with her.
And she brought a friend.
Yeah.
All right,
the Board of Elections, what used to be Northwest Plaza, corner of Lindbergh and
one of those streets.
Rock Road.
Rock Road. Okay.
There you go.
All right, Sue. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sue.
Okay,
love
bye.
you. Love you.
Love you, Sue.
All right, let's do some chat box. Kenny, huh? So I'm scrolling down the chat box.
Yeah.
Right. Almost to the end of it, and I still don't see Ed Stoit. So then I start pacing the floor, worrying about him. Right? And finally he says, "Sorry, buddy, traveling today. You'll still need a tardy slip, Ed." Whoosh. All you all-American, ultra-MAGA, freedom-fighting Vic Heads. 109 days till the end of the era. You know what? Whenever Dave gives us that number, that means up to Inauguration Day.
Yeah, right.
Now, it better be the end of the era, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Better get the right guy in there. Good morning, Americans, Vic Heads, Patriots. Hiya, Vic and Ken. God bless free America. I'm heading out to exercise one of my fundamental human rights in a short. What does that mean? Short?
Maybe short shorts.
He wears short. Come on, guys. The term is illegal aliens. We say illegal aliens.
Yeah, I don't say anything else.
Because we were talking earlier in the week that if an illegal alien gets arrested for something, they can never call that a first offense because their first offense was coming into the country illegally.
You're right.
I want to make sure I got the,
And then the question was, I think part of our conversation was about the CBP1 app that they use to get temporary legal status. And then during the debate, J.D. Vance brought that up, and they said, "Oh no, they're legal." Right. And he said, "Well, yeah, because of this app."
And then they turned off his mic.
And they turned off his mic.
You know why?
So,
because they're sons of bitches.
They lie.
They're
They
sons
lie
of
and they
bitches.
hide and they lie.
And you remember back when Donald Trump was on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl? And he said, "Leslie, they spied on my campaign." Sir, there's no proof of that. Sir, this is 60 Minutes. Well, Trump is saying he will not do an interview with 60 Minutes until she personally apologizes to him.
And
so
she won't.
And right. And so she dug her own hole.
Yep.
So let's pour the dirt over the hole.
Yeah.
Trump is right for refusing the 60 Minutes interview, but he should do another live, unedited interview with Tucker Carlson to be broadcast at the same time as any Harris 60-minute fluff
Totally
piece.
agree with that.
Love that.
Preempt everything she even tries to do.
Exactly right. Conservatives should never do another debate on any drive-by legacy media format. They should demand sit-down interview formats with friendly hosts.
Totally agree.
I think, we sound biased saying that, but they're doing it.
Okay,
Why
no, I get what you say. I get you saying that, and other people have said that, Vic, but what were the first 2 or 3 debates about? They had everybody on their side.
Right.
We allowed it. Trump allowed it. He stepped into the lion's den, right? This time, it needs to be our side.
And Kamala would not do Joe either. Joe or Kamala or Knucklehead would not do a debate on Fox. That's like getting into the World Series and you only want to play home games.
Right.
We're not going to travel to your
Oh,
park.
no.
We're not going to play in your park.
They're weak.
Stinky old park. Even hostile interviews would be fine if they'd be honest. They simply cannot, of course. And how long did Chris Wallace dupe us, by the way? Right?
Oh, big time.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, he's not just a little bit left. He is
he's
a straight out lib turd.
Oh, yeah.
Let the regressive Dem candidates refuse to participate in live interviews, thereby exposing their fear and weakness. I hear she was born with a mantis head. No, see, that's not right. Kamala was born with a crocodile head.
Crocodile head.
Crocodile
yeah,
head.
you can see a little bit of it.
And they did some plastic surgery.
Every once in a while, you see a little scale pop up, and then they just kind of make up it down on her neck. You ever see her neck?
It's disgusting. It looks like alligator skin.
Right.
Vic,
They put makeup on it.
Vic, crocodiles care for their young. They don't abort them, and they don't support aborting them. Try stealing a croc's baby sometime. LOS, Harris isn't even as good as a crocodile. I get it.
You guys are awesome.
I get it. But she was born with a crocodile head. And you know what? As crazy as that sounds, I don't feel bad saying it.
It's going to get viral.
I love it.
Yeah, you guys go on to Facebook, X, and Instagram and start talking about Kamala Harris.
Kamala's got a crocodile head. Kamala's got a crocodile head. Ken is correct. Are you sure?
I don't know.
The global depopulation cult hates any mention of birth and the parent family. And I'll say it again. J.D. Vance did a great job Tuesday night saying, I'm pro-family.
Yep.
I'm a Florida native. I respect Crocs and Gators way more than I do leftists. Okay, guys, listen.
I love it.
I wasn't picking on the crocodiles.
No, it's not their fault.
I'm just saying that she was born with a crocodile
In
head.
fact, she may have been booted out by the crocodiles
Crocodiles kicked her,
population,
right?
And then became human.
Exactly. I can't walk around with this crocodile head.
No.
I gotta get
And I can't
plastic
be a
surgery.
crocodile anymore because they hate me.
Investigation?
They hate my laugh.
By a leftist? Into a leftist by the leftist media? Surely you jest. I think Trump should go on Joe Rogan. Yeah,
I agree with that.
I think Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson and Tyrus should host the next debate.
Wouldn't that be awesome? 3 moderators
I
like
would
that,
love it.
and a crowd. There should
Right.
be a crowd. I think it'd be fun.
And a crocodile.
And a crocodile head.
Just so Kamala feels at home.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, everyone. I was traveling today. This is Ed Stoit. He says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair election.
No peace.
No fair election.
No peace.
They're not running a fair election.
No peace.
Given their views on birth, abortion, and the trend toward more same-sex coupling, I'm pretty confident that their procreation will be limited. That is a great theory that they push the LGBT. They push people. Yeah, be gay, be gay. Why is that? Because they can't procreate.
Right.
And that's part of the depopulation.
Exactly
The
right.
more gay couples you have, the less people you'll have.
Exactly right. Well, look at Margaret Sanger, and she came up with Planned Parenthood, and what was the goal of that?
Just to eliminate the Negro population.
Yes.
Didn't Reagan shut down the striking air traffic controllers? I asked this question to somebody yesterday.
He did.
He did, but not the same. I don't know. Days ago. I can't remember what happened 5 seconds ago. That's not good, Ken, that I can't remember anything. Congress is not keeping their oath they took to defend the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. We got a few domestic problems.
Quite a few, yeah.
And one of them's got a crocodile head. True, Ken. MIT, McConnell, his weak cronies need to go. Mitch McConnell and his weak cronies need to go. Excellent show today, says Lunetz, as opposed to the crap we do every other
Normal,
day.
yeah.
What's your problem?
Thanks, Lunetz.
And Vicky's asked, what's a crocodile head? I'm telling you, she wasn't born with a human head.
No.
She came out of the womb, and her mother and her Marxist father said, look, we've got a crocodile baby.
And those of you who haven't heard that before, we're just saying at the beginning of the show that we can say, because the left says whatever they want, they lie any way they want, and everybody accepts it on the media. So we just passed off that lie as truth.
Because if they get to do it, we get to do it.
That's right.
So she's got a crocodile head. Good Thursday morning, freedom fighters. Good morning, freedom fighting Vic Heads. The amount of money sent annually to Ukraine exceeds the annual budget of the United States Marines. Put that into perspective.
Wow.
Good morning, everyone. And the sketchy birth control pills young people are getting online these days, too. You can buy abortion pills online.
Right.
Fantastic. Leanne says, is this port strike all planned, staged? What do you think about that?
there's so much to that, and I've heard so many people talk about it. I mean, it could let's put it to y'all this way, and this is what we've been talking about from the beginning of this show. We don't trust the government anymore, so anything can go. We don't know.
I don't trust union leaders either.
No.
Union rank and file? Okay. Leanne goes on to say, boss threatens to shut down the country, and Kamala comes in, gets them to accept something reasonable, and she looks like a leader.
Right.
Wondering if it was all planned based on how crazy they're talking.
What did you see, though? Did you see those that video? She was walking during the flood area, around the flood area, and she was standing there with, I guess, the mayor or somebody, some important Democrat, and they waited. They were looking at the camera, waiting, standing there, and then someone said, "Go," and she started acting like she was walking, listening to him. And
they might as well just say action, right?
I told you this is a B-movie production. This whole campaign is.
Right. By the way, Biden got into a helicopter and flew over the flood sites. And when he was up there, he was talking to the pilot. He goes, when I flew with Lindbergh, when we flew across around the world, Rome is burning, and the scumbag Democrats, look at David Sylvester, scumbag, are toasting marshmallows and hot dogs and laughing at the American people. It's exactly what they do. Kathleen says it's called narcissistic, and that's what they are. And they're setting a narcissistic example for their followers and quite possibly ruin the entire country. It's you get on board with any of it, they are an abomination. They are indeed all of those things. Under the gun was an existing idiom that was applied to poker. It did not originate from poker, says Dank Poncherello.
Well. That's something sounds like you have to research a little bit, huh?
Talking to me?
You, yeah.
Huh. He's turned on me.
No,
research it. No toilet paper. I just assumed.
Okay, the toilet paper, real quick thing. Look, that's gonna go last. So don't worry about toilet paper.
Oh no. None at Wentzville Walmart. Keep up the fight, Trump 2024. That was Michelle, our letter carrier. Rural letter carrier. Hey, thanks for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Bongino's next. Kenny Now, see you tomorrow at 9 on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Stay strong, everybody.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Cleathermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and brunch, with live music on select dates paired with wine tasting. Find them at 14319 Olive Boulevard in Chesterfield or online at oldhouseinhoghollow.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden today will travel to 2 more states hit hard by Hurricane Helene. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has the report.
After traveling to North and South Carolina yesterday to survey storm damage and meet with officials, the president heads to Georgia and Florida today. He's pledging federal assistance to help communities and families rebuild and says it'll cost billions of dollars. Mr. Biden also directed up to 1,000 active duty troops to help with response and recovery efforts. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Forecasters say Tropical Storm Leslie has formed in the eastern Atlantic Ocean and could strengthen into a hurricane by the weekend. There were no coastal watches or warnings in effect, and that storm system was not yet deemed a threat to land. Also at townhall.com, the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits rose modestly last week.
The Labor Department reports applications for jobless claims rose by 6,000 to 225,000 for the week ending September 28th. It was slightly more than the 221,000 analysts were expecting. The 4-week average of claims fell by 750 to 224,250.
Correspondent Jeremy House, the report said that the total number of Americans collecting jobless benefits was down by 1,000 to about 1.83 million for the week of September 21st. Some manufacturers and retailers are urging President Biden to invoke a 1947 law as a way to suspend a strike by 45,000 dock workers that has shut down 36 U.S. ports from Maine to Texas. It's known as the Taft-Hartley Act. Biden has said, though, that he won't intervene in the strike. The Dow dropping 154 points. The NASDAQ is ahead 25. More at townhall.com.
Hey, folks, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back. But what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at the Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word prepare to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantage status. So text prepare to 989898. That's prepare to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A warming trend begins today with highs in the 80s all the way through the weekend. So warmer southerly flow kicking in, joining forces with full sunshine to push temperatures up to about 82 this afternoon. Humidity's still low, though, so it's warmer, but still fairly pleasant. 70s this evening, our Friday morning low dropping to 58. 83 and mostly sunny Friday afternoon, and I've got us at a toasty 87 on Saturday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Piccadilly Palace, located in Union, Missouri. The ultimate family fun center is Piccadilly Palace. Call 314-860-6418 or visit PiccadillyPalace.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo inviting you to join my band along with Somebody to Love, Tribute to Queen, for an awesome night of music Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Join us as we kick off the season of holiday cheer with my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Support live local music and join us for a great party Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
Craving the most delicious pizza in town? Head to Monocle's on Highway K in the heart of O'Fallon. From thin crust to pan pizza, gluten-free options, and every topping imaginable. Monocle's, as you covered. Indulge in mouth-watering calzones, party-sized salads, and our famous sweet and tart dressing. Family-owned and locally operated, Monocle's serves up love and care with every bite. Dine in or carry out, and don't forget to try our banana-licious monkey bread for dessert. Order online at monocles.com or stop in today and tell them News Talk STL sent you.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
News, analysis, opinion.
If they can't bring jobs back to America, I'm not interested.
National security is my priority.
I'm keeping an eye on health care for veterans.
It's time for change. 101.9 and 94.1.
Number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
From the NYPD to the Secret Service to behind the microphone, taking the bite to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. Here he is, Dan Bongino.
You know what it is, Jim? I think it's the earpiece. Hey, Dee, can we swap this out again for a new one? We don't need to do it now, but I'll be fine. But I think that's what it was. Sorry, folks. It's like, obviously not the kind of stuff. But I'm like, Jim, I can't hear you. All I heard was, and I'm like, it don't sound right. I thought it was on their end, but these earpieces go bad once in a while. But it's fine. I can hear everything now, so don't sweat it. Besides, they already know what's coming anyway. So as long as you give me like hand signals and stuff, we're okay. Folks, the deep state strikes back. You know, what do I always tell you? Well, I tell you a lot of things, but I say this often. I say you can always gauge the effectiveness of what's going on with the Donald Trump, J.D. Vance campaign, or any Republican campaign for that matter, but this is the one we're dealing with right now. Jim, you've heard me say this before, right? By the reaction of the left. If the left just gaffes something off, it may, and it does happen, it may be Republican hyperbole about how great something was. You know what I'm saying? Like, if, I don't know, just throw out some fictitious event, like the Republican ticket for the presidency from Reagan on says, we raised the $100 million. If you don't see some hit piece come out within the next few days, the Democrats may be like, okay, great, they raised money, but they're not really that concerned about it. Does that make sense? The Democrats will always overreact and show you their ass, is what I'm getting at. When they do, you know there's something they're worried about. And if you can chronologically correlate it with some event, you can figure out what they're concerned about. Let me make this easy to understand. Tyrant, communist, now borderline, fascist, not a borderline, like this guy's gone full-blown fascist at this point. Special tyrant Jack Smith, who has violated every legal precedent, every single code of conduct. He has violated DOJ informal rules on election interference. He's humiliated himself in the judicial process over and over. This is the guy who's falsely prosecuting President Trump on the fake insurrection charges and keeps getting owned in the courts and wrecked and humiliated. He found probably the worst fake judge in America in Judge Chutkan, who's not a real judge. This is not a real judge. This is a communist activist. She's not a real judge. This is not a serious person. The only reason she should be taken seriously is because she's helping to destroy the United States. That's it. He finds this fake judge to work with who will do anything he wants because she effectively works as a campaign operative for Joe Biden. And yesterday they launched this superseding unredacted indictment which is meant to be another one of these left-wing fairy tales showing you how Donald Trump is insurrectionist or some absurdity. So we're 33 days, 30-something days out from a general election. It is informal. It's not technical, but it's informal DOJ policy for understandable reasons. 60 days prior to an election to not do anything significant that can't wait till after the election because they don't want to be seen as partisan. So you would think that would mean a normal functioning DOJ, of course, not the one led by communist Merrick Garland and obviously commie Joe Biden and fascist Jack Smith. You would think they would say, hey, is there a real need for this superseding unredacted indictment right now? I mean, the case has no chance of going to trial anytime before Election Day. We're in a struggle with the Supreme Court about if this trial is even viable or if Jack Smith is even constitutionally appointed for that matter. Maybe it's a good idea to delay this? Of course not. Judge Chutkin, who is not a real judge, she's a disgrace to humankind, the cosmos, sentient beings all over the universe. She's sitting in her chambers with probably smoking cigars with little tyrant Jack Smith, his two little commies. And they're like, well, we've got a problem. How do we help the communist regime of Biden and Harris get elected now that we're struggling? I've got an idea. Let's launch another fairy tale document for all the media people to read with a bunch of unsubstantiated charges against Donald Trump, which obviously his team is then going to have to respond to. Why? Well, because we can, because we're little commies. So what are they worried about? Well, folks, as I said, the deep state typically reacts to good news on the conservative side because they can't have conservatives in office. They want to make sure the little commie libs are in office. So I'm going to tell you 5 things that happened just this week. And I'm going to guess the bat signal went out to Chutkin and Smith. You've got to help us because we being Harris, Walz, and Biden, we just had the worst week in probably the last 10 years of political election history. In just the last week, you have the largest ballistic missile attack in modern warfare history on a sovereign state soil in the Middle East after Biden and his team have kissed the asses of the Iranian mullahs for the last, I'd say, 12 years on and off because we had the Trump portion in between. Obama and Biden have massaged the Iranian debt to America mullahs. They've kissed their asses. They've publicly praised them. They've given them hundreds of billions of dollars in money we had custody of. But it's Iranian. No, it's not. It was ours. We had it. You can argue all you want. It was like the Shah and all this other stuff. No. We're under no obligation to give you back money when you use terror to kill American citizens. Thank you. We gave them billions. And what did they do? They launched the most unprecedented ballistic missile strike in modern warfare history, basically telling Biden and Harris, your don't strategy is a big don't for us. So Jack Smith and fake Judge Chutkin, I hope you're listening on WMAL on the air. Someone tell Judge Chutkin and that slob Jack Smith to tune in the radio. That slob, that loser. Can you tell him to tune in? Because I want to humiliate him in front of his family and everyone else, because that's who he is, a little commie. And I can't stand you or what you're doing to the country. You disgrace the humankind. You're a legal and professional and constitutional embarrassment. And what you're doing right now to steal another election, I will never forget. I will make sure personally your reputation never recovers from this. Not that you had one in the first place. The only people who are going to love you are the little commies who hopefully are going to go down on election day if we win this thing. And then you're going to face plant again as you get summarily dismissed from the case and humiliated, because that's who you are. You're a loser. The McDonald case, you're a loser. You've always been a loser. You're always humiliated because you're a joke. Did they call you in after the ballistic missile strike and go, hey, listen, this is embarrassing? Joe Biden ran as the normalcy candidate, and nothing's normal. The world's in chaos. Inflation's gone wild. We haven't seen since the 80s, the stagflation era. The border's open. There are terrorists in the country. Can you please issue a superseding indictment? Jack Smith's like, yeah, man, I got nothing to lose. I'm a loser anyway. That's Jack. Yeah, believe me, I want to say something else. And the problem with that, Jack, I don't really care. I don't care at all, not even a little bit. You're a loser, a bum. That's who you are. Little tyrant. So they had to distract you from the ballistic missile attack. They also had to distract you from now the disastrous, deadly Hurricane Helene response, which statistically, on data alone, is going to be the worst government fumble in modern disaster response history. New York Post, and by the way, this death toll tragically isn't over. Headline, Hurricane Helene's death toll reaches 189, the most storm casualties since Katrina, with totals still expected to rise. Where's the media on this? Remember how Hurricane Katrina became a story not about the victims, but about George W. Bush? Despite, by the way, the federal response being pretty good. Go look at what Blanco and Nagin and others did. The Democrats in Louisiana. Go look at what they did. And you'll see where the disaster really was. But George Bush was pilloried for that, remember? He showed up 3 days after Katrina. Biden's just showing up today. It's a week. 189 plus are dead. There are people over there saying the federal government's doing nothing. Now, I'm not telling you there's no one there. I'm telling you the response is absolutely entirely inadequate. We now find out, which I'll cover on the podcast tomorrow. Davidi and Jim will be covering the radio. Got an event I got to get to in the afternoon. You're going to find out tomorrow that nearly $1 billion in FEMA money was spent on housing illegal immigrants, criminals, people who broke the law and entered the country. So criminal is a violator of the law, right? Criminals who entered the country illegally. You spent $1 billion of your money through our thieving, disgusting government of FEMA money, and now FEMA's running out of money. They can't seem to find money if there's another hurricane. They're running out of money right now for our own citizens. As the death toll piles up and the government's response is a joke. But the joke is deadly. Where's the media? They're talking about cats in Springfield. That's what they're talking about. Where's the media? Our disgusting commie media. That's a good point, Jim. They're talking about the Fedsurrection. That's what they're talking about. But they don't, Jim, here's what they're talking about. They're not even mentioning on January 6th, the explosive news that there were a lot of feds in the crowd. They don't want to talk about that. Or a pipe bomb that almost killed Kamala Harris. Good point, Jim. That nobody seems to know where it came from. So they're hiding the ballistic missile attack. They're hiding the disastrous FEMA and government response to this ongoing tragedy in multiple states, North Carolina and Georgia and others. They're hiding a port strike, too, that's costing the U.S. economy billions of dollars a day and massive supply chain disruptions. Why are they hiding that? Folks, I thought the guy who ran on, we're going to bring normalcy back to the country, Joe Biden, didn't he tell us he was the union guy, too? He was like the union whisperer? Because it's weird because the unions have told him to using an F word off. And then when they were asked at a little Fox News clip this morning, hey, how many support Kamala Harris? The longshoremen were like, well, like what? No, like that. Like that was it. Silence. That was it. Yeah, there's the actual sound. Crickets. I thought he was like the union whisperer. So you can't get both sides at the table and say, hey, someone's going to have to give here, okay? To the shipping container companies, you're going to have to give some. To the longshoremen, automation's part of life. We can't do this. He couldn't do it. I thought he was the union whisperer. He told us that, right? He was a Scranton kid, lunch bucket Joe. He's a fighter for you. He's such a voice for unions that right before the election, 30 days before the election, the economy could be in shambles because our ports, containers can't get in. I thought he was a union guy. So we've got the largest ballistic missile strike in modern history. We've got the worst U.S. disaster death toll now in modern U.S. history. This, folks, this is just this week, bro. This is not The last 4 years. Jim's nodding his head. This is just this week. We now have a devastating porch strike, decimating our economy. They're also trying to hide the worst debate performance in probably modern debate history. It's incredible that Barack Obama said, give me a candidate so dumb he won't distract from me, and they gave him Joe Biden. Joe Biden said, give me a candidate even dumber so they won't distract from my glory. He gets Kamala Harris. And then Kamala Harris says, amazingly, can you find someone even dumber than me or Joe Biden? And they come up with Tampon T, who puts forth the single worst debate performance in modern American history. It was a disaster on every front. They need that story to go away, too. Jack Smith and fake Judge Chutkin to the rescue. Jack Smith's a disgrace. This guy is a disgrace to humankind. As a guy, you know what? One more thing, too, before I don't want to get one, because Jack Smith pisses me off like nothing you've ever seen. They're also trying to hide from you the Amnesty app. J.D. Vance brought up the CBP One app the other day that Biden and Harris are using to fly potential criminals and terrorists into the country. Totally unvetted. They're trying to hide that from you because now people are looking it up and realizing it's true. Headline, New York Post, DHS threat report. This is Biden's DHS. Warns migrants with terrorism ties will continue to exploit border crisis. Oh, really? Jack Smith to the rescue. You know why Jack Smith bothers me so much? I hope you're listening, Jack, because you're a disgrace. You're garbage. You're garbage. I raised my right hand, and that oath mattered to me. It meant something. I protected Democrat presidents and Republican presidents. I did my job the exact same way because it was my job. That's what taxpayers paid me to do. And because we don't get our protectees killed based on their politics. You raised your right hand too. But because you're a disgusting piece of garbage and a disgrace to America, you were too mercenary to keep your personal politics out of your oath. Your oath doesn't matter because you're filth. And everybody sees it. And I can't wait to have you fired after Election Day. We'll be right back.
Bongino. President Trump says Newsmax is terrific. Mike Huckabee says he's tuning in like millions of Americans. Newsmax is now the fastest growing cable news channel in America. Watch Newsmax on cable, streaming, or on the free Newsmax app. And Newsmax has announced it plans to go IPO soon. For a limited time, eligible investors can even buy preferred shares in Newsmax, and they come with a 7% dividend. Get the details about Newsmax's planned IPO and shares. Just go to newsmaxinvest.com. Forbes says Newsmax is a news powerhouse. Get Newsmax shares. You can even buy shares with a credit card at newsmaxinvest.com. Whenever making an investment decision, you should consult your attorney or financial advisor, and investors are responsible for conducting their own due diligence regarding investments and for all tax and other risks and obligations. Don't miss out. Find out more at newsmaxinvest.com today.
Dan Bongino.
I really am a liberal, but I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side.
I'm a Democrat. I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
No matter your inclination.
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
We are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you. St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk. I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here. I want to tell you about an awesome business located in my hometown of Eureka, Missouri that we use all the time for our exterior homestead needs. Eureka Contracting and Roofing. Veteran owned. They will come to you and schedule a one-on-one consultation. They know that replacing your roof or anything on the exterior of your home is always a really big deal, which is why they've always got a no pressure, no obligation inspection and evaluation. Fully licensed and insured. Nothing but the highest quality of materials made right here in the USA. 636-938-ROOF. 636-938-ROOF. EurekaContracting.com. That's EurekaContracting.com.
This hour of Larry Connish USA brought to you by my friends at Renewal by Anderson. And listen to this. Renewal is having a killer of a sale. Buy any window or door. Get a second one, 50% off, 0 interest, no payments for 18 months. Renewal has the most 5-star reviews of any full-service window company. Simply dial pound 250, pound 250, and say the keyword windows.
Missouri, your voice matters.
Jobs and the economy are the most important issues in the coming election.
I think we need some kind of change.
The Farmers Co-op, Old Town Country Store, and News Talk STL remind you that November 5th, you have the power to shape our state and nation's future.
My vote counts.
Get out to vote November 5th, because the future is in your hands.
Everybody has the right to vote.
I do vote because I want to matter.
Get out to vote. Brought to you by the Farmers Co-op, Old Town Country Store, Joe Bacardi's, and Senior Memorial Life.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Come join the conversation.
Enable our Alexa skill. Hey, Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Always streaming at newstalkstl.com
or on your radio
at 1019, 94.1, and 99.1 HD3.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
Welcome home. News, analysis, opinion.
News Talk STL.
Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to healthcare, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
America, land of the free, home of the Dan Bongino Show.
It is. It's if you pay attention, it's my job to pay attention. But if you pay attention to obvious Democrat, tyrant, police state, weaponization of government moves, you will always see a direct correlation when they're freaked out about something. Trump will raise a lot of money. Trump will announce he's running for president again. And then you'll see a series of FBI, DOJ maneuvers, right? So special tyrant Jack Smith and fake Judge Chutkin colluding to launch this absurd, ridiculous bevy of what appears to be absurd charges against Donald Trump, with very little ability for them to reply back, is clearly meant to steal or try to steal another election. How humiliating is it going to be if Trump wins big on election day and these absolute buffoons are sitting there saying to themselves, you know what? Did we cause this? Because Donald Trump's turnaround in the polls is also directly correlated to deep state weaponized attacks and all these fake indictments. Jack Smith, just like not Bob Mueller, but Jim Comey, may be personally responsible with fake Judge Chutkin, Fonnie Willis, Twinkies, and these Letitia James and others, may be directly responsible if Donald Trump wins for his second term. And if it turns into 2 more terms of J.D. Vance after that, you can thank him for a decade plus of transformative Make America Great Again politics. Folks are trying to cover for these things, and especially the debate. More coverage on that. Hey, with the tax hikes proposed by Harris, you hear about these 40% top income tax rates, 7% increase in the corporate tax, cap gains tax on unrealized gains. Some studies showing she's proposing policies that could add $2 trillion more to the current $2 trillion deficit over the next 10 years. You're probably thinking what I am. It's probably time to make more of your savings tax sheltered and inflation sheltered. is where I trust the people at Birch Gold Group to help you. I've been a customer there for a while. BIRCH. Birch Gold will assist you in converting an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. And the best news is you don't pay a penny out of pocket. Just text the word Bongino, Bongino, to 989898 and get a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just information on how you can fortify your savings before the crazy really hits. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold too. Text Bongino to the number 989898 for your free info kit today. Message and data rates apply.
Dan Bongino.